3 knocks. You look through the peephole, it's the police. They ask politely to come inside. Most Americans open the door. They think they have no choice. They think it's the law. They think refusing will make them look guilty. All 3 of those beliefs are wrong. What happens next, in the next 10 seconds at your front door, can determine whether your home gets searched, whether evidence gets seized, and whether you end up in handcuffs. And the law is absolutely clear on your rights in this moment. I'm going to give you the exact words to say, the exact laws that protect you, and the 4 situations where the rules change, because knowing one without the others could get you into serious trouble. This is your constitutional shield. Stay until the end, because the last section contains the single most dangerous mistake people make, and almost nobody talks about it. Let's start with the foundation. The law that protects you isn't some loophole or technicality. It is literally the 4th Amendment to the United States Constitution. The exact text reads, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated." Notice the word houses. Your home is specifically, deliberately, and explicitly protected by the founders. This is not an accident. The Legal Information Institute at Cornell University explains this clearly. The 4th Amendment originally enforced the notion that each man's home is his castle, secure from unreasonable searches and seizures of property by the government. This principle goes even further to English common law, where the phrase, "every man's house is his castle," was famously articulated by Sir Edward Coke in the 1600s. The Founding Fathers imported this idea directly into the Bill of Rights. In 1948, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Robert H. Jackson wrote in Johnson v. United States, "The right of officers to thrust themselves into a home is also a grave concern not only to the individual, but to a society which chooses to dwell in reasonable security and freedom from surveillance." He went on, "When the right of privacy must reasonably yield to the right of search is, as a rule, to be decided by a judicial officer, not by a policeman." Read that again. A judge decides, not the officer knocking on your door. In 1980, the Supreme Court ruled in Payton v. New York that the 4th Amendment has drawn a firm line at the entrance to your house. Absent exigent circumstances, that threshold may not be crossed without a warrant. A firm line at the entrance to your house. Here is what every American needs to memorize. According to constitutional law, confirmed by the U.S. Supreme Court and legal scholars, there are only 3 lawful ways for police to enter your home. Number 1, your consent. If you voluntarily open your door and let them in, that is legally valid consent. And here is the critical part. In Schneckloth v. Bustamonte, decided by the Supreme Court in 1973, the court ruled that police do not have to inform you of your right to refuse. They don't have to say, you can say no. They can simply ask, and if you say yes, that consent is valid. The burden is on you to know your rights. Number 2, a valid warrant. A search warrant is a written order signed by a judge or magistrate specifically describing the place to be searched and the items to be seized. It must be based on probable cause, sworn testimony that a crime has been or is being committed. An arrest warrant authorizes entry to the home of the named person if officers believe they are inside. The ACLU confirms, ask the officer to slip the warrant under the door or hold it up to a window so you can read it before opening. Number 3, exigent circumstances. This is the emergency exception. The Supreme Court has recognized in cases including Mincy v. Arizona and Brigham City v. Stewart that certain genuine emergencies allow warrantless entry. Someone screaming for help inside your home, a fire, hot pursuit of a fleeing felony suspect, or the imminent destruction of evidence. These are real, objective emergencies, not just police curiosity. That's it. Those are the only 3. If none of those 3 conditions are present, the police cannot legally enter. Period. This is the segment most people come here for. What do you actually say? Here is the legally correct script, word for word. First, you do not have to open the door. You can speak through the door, through a window, or through a chain lock. Say this clearly, calmly and loud enough to be heard. Officer, I do not consent to a search of my home. Do you have a warrant? That's it. 2 sentences. They carry enormous legal weight. If they say yes, they have a warrant, ask them to slide it under the door or show it through a window. Check. Is your correct address listed? Is it signed by a judge? What specifically are they authorized to search for? If they say no, then you say, then I am not able to let you in. I wish to remain silent. I would like to speak with an attorney. The ACLU's official Know Your Rights Guide instructs Americans you have the right to remain silent and to refuse consent to yourself, your car, or your home. Say it out loud, say it clearly, and then stop talking. Why stop talking? Because the Fifth Amendment protects you from self-incrimination. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Even casual conversation, I was just cleaning, my friend left that there, I don't even know what that is, can become evidence. Do not be hostile, do not argue, do not raise your voice. Calm, clear, and firm. The ACLU is explicit. Do not interfere with or obstruct the police even while you are asserting your rights. Now let's go deeper on warrants, because many people don't know that even a valid warrant has strict limits. A search warrant allows an officer to enter a home only the address specifically listed on the warrant. Officers can only search for the item listed in the location listed. If the warrant says they are looking for stolen electronics in the living room, they cannot search your bedroom. The Fourth Amendment requires a warrant to particularly describe the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. This is called the particularity requirement. General warrants, the kind the British used in colonial America, are unconstitutional. Now here's something critical that trips people up: the ICE warrant. Federal immigration officers sometimes present a document they also call a warrant, but as confirmed by the ACLU of Iowa and multiple state ACLU chapters, most ICE administrative warrants are not signed by a judge. They are signed by an immigration officer, someone within the same agency. This does not meet the constitutional standard. A warrant of removal or deportation does not authorize entry into a home without your consent. An arrest warrant is different from a search warrant. An arrest warrant authorizes officers to enter the home of the named person on the warrant, but only if they have reason to believe they are currently inside. It does not authorize a general search. Bottom line, even with the warrant, your rights don't disappear. If you choose to speak to officers, step outside and close the door behind you. This limits what they can observe inside under what's known as the plain view doctrine. Now, this is the section that can get you into real trouble if you skip it, because there are legitimate exceptions to the warrant requirement, and if you try to assert rights in situations where those exceptions apply, it can escalate dangerously. Exception number 1. Emergency aid, imminent danger to life. In Michigan v. Fisher and Brigham City v. Stewart, the Supreme Court held that officers may enter without a warrant when they have an objectively reasonable basis for believing someone inside is seriously injured or facing imminent threat of injury. If someone is screaming for help inside your home, police can enter. If there are visible signs of violence, police can enter. In 2026, in Case v. Montana, the Supreme Court reaffirmed the standard. Exception number 2, hot pursuit of a fleeing felon. In United States v. Santana, the Supreme Court confirmed that hot pursuit of a fleeing felony suspect is an exigent circumstance allowing warrantless entry. However, and this is important, in Lange v. California in 2021, the Supreme Court ruled that pursuit of a misdemeanor suspect does not automatically justify warrantless home entry. Officers must assess the specific circumstances. Exception number 3, imminent destruction of evidence. If police have probable cause to believe evidence of a crime is about to be destroyed, they may enter. However, as established in Kentucky v. King, officers cannot create this exigency themselves. The exigency must be genuine and not manufactured by police conduct. Exception number 4, consent, including third-party consent. This is the most legally dangerous exception because of a ruling most people don't know about. In United States v. Matlock in 1974, the Supreme Court held that a co-occupant of a home, a roommate, a partner, can give police consent to search even without your knowledge or permission. However, in Georgia v. Randolph in 2006, the court ruled that if you are present and you explicitly refuse consent, police cannot use a co-occupant's consent to override yours. Your physical presence and your explicit refusal matters enormously. I promised you the most dangerous mistake. Here it is. The most dangerous mistake is opening the door, even just a little, and then trying to argue. Here's what happens. You crack the door open. Now the officer can see inside. The plain view doctrine means that anything an officer can observe from a lawful vantage point can be used as evidence and can justify further action. You open the door. That is now a lawful vantage point. The second mistake, giving partial consent. People say things like, you can check the kitchen, but not my bedroom. Partial consent is extremely complex legally. Courts have sometimes allowed police to expand their search based on what was observed during the permitted portion. If you're going to refuse, refuse entirely. Do not negotiate the scope of a search at your front door without an attorney present. The third mistake, assuming your silence is enough. If officers enter illegally and you say nothing, courts may later interpret that as implicit consent. You must verbally and clearly state, I do not consent to this search, loudly enough to be heard. This creates a legal record. The fourth mistake, physically resisting. Even if the officers are wrong, even if they are violating your Fourth Amendment rights, do not physically resist. Assert your rights verbally. The exclusionary rule means that if police enter illegally, evidence they gather may be thrown out in court, but only if you clearly refused. Physical resistance turns a civil rights issue into a criminal charge against you. You might be wondering, what happens if police enter anyway, illegally? This is where the exclusionary rule protects you. Established in Weeks v. United States in 1914 and extended to all U.S. states in Mapp v. Ohio in 1961, the exclusionary rule holds that evidence obtained through an unconstitutional search cannot be used against you in court. This is why asserting your non-consent matters so much. When you clearly and loudly say, I do not consent to this search, and police enter anyway without a warrant or valid exigent circumstances, any evidence they find becomes what lawyers call fruit of the poisonous tree. It gets thrown out. Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis captured it perfectly when he wrote, if the government becomes the lawbreaker, it breeds contempt for the law. The exclusionary rule exists to keep the government honest. After any encounter where you believe your rights were violated, document everything immediately. Write down the officers' names, badge numbers, the time, date, and exactly what was said. File a complaint with the department's Internal Affairs Division. Contact the ACLU in your state. Consult a criminal defense attorney. Many offer free initial consultations. Let me give you the legal logic summary. The Fourth Amendment gives your home the highest level of constitutional protection in American law. Police need your consent, a valid judge-signed warrant, or a genuine emergency to enter. You have the right to clearly and calmly refuse. The exact words are, I do not consent to a search. Do you have a warrant? I wish to remain silent. I want an attorney. Know the four exceptions: emergency aid, hot pursuit of a felon, imminent evidence destruction, and third-party consent. So you can recognize when the rules genuinely change. Never physically resist. Always verbally assert. Document everything. Your home is your castle. The Constitution said so. The Supreme Court has said so, repeatedly, for over 200 years. Now you know how to use that protection. If this video helped you, hit subscribe. We cover these rights every single week. Drop a comment below. Did you know you could refuse police entry? Tell me honestly. And share this video because someone in your life needs to see it before they open that door. I'll see you in the next one.